to today's video. I just really felt the urge to shake my feathers today. Some of you don't know this, I'm a massive shopaholic, and I bought this one day at a market for $5 and I've never worn it. I thought, why not? I'm gonna wear it in my YouTube video and shake what I got. So today's video is about how you can hire an incredible team member to join your team. And this could be anyone such as a freelancer, a contractor, a part-time, full-time employee, like it doesn't matter. All of these rules apply for how you can hire a badass mofo for your team. Am I allowed to say that on camera? I don't really know, but I did it anyways because we're all about breaking rules here. You know, most of you know that I run my business by myself, but the reality is it is impossible to do everything yourself. Throughout my journey, I've always had people that I work with offshore that will handle certain tasks. When I had a publishing business, I had virtual assistants, I had graphic designers, I had book designers doing different things. So I've gotten really familiar with what to look for in finding talent to outsource to. And whether you are a single business owner or a small business, all of these tips apply for how you can find employees that work well with you. And when I was an autopilot as a product designer, I was also responsible for hiring designers in my team. So I've been on both sides of the process of both hiring and being hired. So I really know what it takes to actually vet people the right way. So today I want to share with you 5 of the most important things for you to consider when you are hiring somebody. So when you're finding talent online, whether it's on LinkedIn, Upwork, or Fiverr, like all of these tips are tools that you can use to find somebody that will suit your business and ultimately yourself. Because at the end of the day, if this is someone that you're going to work with, you want to make sure that you guys are compatible and you communicate well. Otherwise, it's not going to be very fun communicating with this person. I've had a lot of luck finding really good talent online, and I really do believe it is because I'm very nitpicky about what I'm looking for, so I know exactly what I'm looking for and I go and get it. And I don't think about how long it takes, I just make sure I find the best candidate instead of rushing into things. I'm just gonna jump into it now and walk you guys through some of the tips that I would definitely recommend for you to hire a team member. So number 1, the very first thing, like I said, is you need to know what you're looking for. The more clear you are with the exact job description that you have, the better your results, right? Even when you are creating something like a really quick Fiverr or Upwork post, if you can give the other person as much guidance as possible, the odds of you getting the exact results that you want are very high, right? For example, if you just put up a post saying looking for a designer, that's not very helpful. But if you say looking for a designer with a minimal aesthetic who can finish a project within 6 weeks and this is the budget, you've already vetted out a lot of people that might not want this job. So the more clear you are with what you want, the more that helps you. A lot of people don't like to put in that time to put in a post because they just want to get it out there, and then they wonder why all the leads that they're getting and all the candidates that they're interested in are absolute trash. If you don't put any investment into your job post, why would anybody else put investment into applying? Right? Think of it that way. If you don't put in the effort, no one else will. You're going to attract that same level of energy because you didn't even care about your own business. A friend of mine actually taught me how to create a really good job posting. And it's as if you were applying for a corporate role. That's kind of how you want to be drafting your job post if you're putting it up on Fiverr or Upwork, even if it's a small project. You want to be exciting the other person about what they're applying for so that they want to work with you. Otherwise, all you're gonna get are those people who are hustling and are desperate for money, and they will say, I'll do it for $20, but then they don't do it well, and that's not what we're here for. We're here to find high quality talent that will fit your budget, and those hidden gems do exist. You just really need to know how to look for them. So that's what I always do, is I'm always extremely clear with exactly what I want. And that means giving examples, it means listing out the exact deliverables that you're looking for, the timelines, the styles, everything. The more you can give them, the better the communication is between the two of you. So that is number one, is be very clear with what you want. Number two is you set the terms and expectations right from the beginning. So while you are talking to this employee, like potential employee and candidate, you tell them, okay, like I have certain processes, this is how I operate, you'll be billed on this day, I communicate over here. And in the beginning, you set the tone of authority. Essentially, you are the business owner and you need to act like you got your shit together, right? And be very professional. And every time I interact with a potential hire, I tell them all about how I operate. I tell them, I want to be able to talk to you at these times. These are my exact deliverables. We're going to be communicating specifically only on Slack because I don't want to check other forms of communications. And this other person needs to say yes. They need to be flexible. If they're not flexible and they're like, oh, sorry, I don't operate that way, like that just means that in the future, when you ask them to do something that they don't want to do, they're not going to do it for you. So you want to make sure that whoever you are working with is flexible and will change their ways for your business, because ultimately this is a business transaction and you are paying them for their service and you are the person who is giving them the money. So be in that spot and take control, because if you start doing a bunch of different processes for every single contractor that you work with, you will not be able to scale because you will not have the brain power to handle all that. The AC is so strong, it's moving my hair. So really set the terms and the expectations from the beginning of what you're looking for in this employee, so they know how to communicate and be like with you. For example, you cannot complain if your employee isn't messaging you back fast enough if you didn't set those terms from the beginning. If you didn't tell them, all right, our working hours are this, I need to be able to reach you at all times between 9 to 5, and if I can't reach you, then that's a problem. And you need to set terms like this from the beginning. Otherwise, somebody is always going to be upset and someone's always going to point the finger and say, well, you never told me, that wasn't part of it. And that's just not very fun. And then the other thing I always do is I always get on a video call. It is different when people put shit on paper and versus when you actually talk to them in person. And I've found in the past, especially with the internet and how easy it is to just copy and paste and steal stuff from other people, you actually don't know if someone is able to deliver the results that they promise online. So I always get on a call so that I can suss them out and suss out their personality. And what is important about this step is really to see if you guys can communicate in a good manner. If you're talking to this person and they're always fighting you and they don't agree with you, that is going to come up when you work together in a project. But if on the other hand, you ask this person for feedback and they say everything you do is great, that means you don't have a very good employee either, because all they want to do is make you happy, but they don't actually think for themselves. So getting on a call helps you overcome these problems and really helps you understand whether or not they know their shit in terms of whatever it is that you're hiring them for. I think it's very important that this person that you're gonna hire will ask you questions that you didn't even know you needed the answers to, right? When I was signing my clients, one of the biggest things that they were saying was, you started asking me questions to things that I didn't even know were problems. When you did that, I knew that you really knew your stuff in design. And that's kind of a situation that you want to be in when you're hiring someone. They're meant to be an expert in their field. So if they're not asking you a lot of questions, that might mean that they actually don't know what they're doing. On the flip side, if they're asking a lot of basic questions that you are like, why the fuck do you not know this? That could mean that they're actually not qualified. So just be careful about the types of questions that they're asking. If they're asking things you don't know, that's a pretty good sign that they're really smart. And if they're asking questions for shit that is obvious, they're probably not very good. So those are things to consider. One thing I always do, in the past I didn't do this and I really regret it, is setting up a test or trial. I've definitely hired people and I've jumped in looking at their portfolio being like, oh, you guys are great. But then I overcommit to a project and they just do not understand the style that I'm looking for at all. And this does happen. If you are hiring someone who's a great designer, but they're only good at one aesthetic and you are the complete opposite, they might not know how to create that aesthetic, right? It's like asking a ballet dancer to be the best hip hop dancer in the world. Like they might not be good at it. Even though they're a dancer, they might not be good at it. So I always set up a trial project or a test project before I hire someone. If you're looking to hire someone as a full-time role, this could be in the form of taking them on for a 2-week probation period and seeing how they are. And here you can see how proactive they are as an employee, if they ask the right questions, if they're actually delivering on time, because that has always been the issue, is they make all these bold promises and then they never deliver on the time that they said that they were able to. Or alternatively, if it's a one-off project, you give them a small sample and you say, can you do this for a few seconds? I was able to hire my videographer this way. Hi, Joe. Joe, can you please give a little shout out to yourself here, because I want to show the world how awesome you are.
Yo, what up guys, I'm Joe. I just want to say real quick, if you guys are not already subscribed to Charlotte, I would highly recommend doing so. 1, it's not easy to put out a video every single day. 2, she's putting out videos that are actually useful. So if you guys are not already subscribed to Charlotte, I would recommend doing so. I just want to say this real quick. I'm Joe. I'm the video editor. Peace.
So I found Joe online, and Joe helps me edit all my videos, and the way I hired him was I told him to really quickly put together an edit of one of my YouTube videos, and he was the first person to respond. He edited the whole video and he just went above and beyond, and that showed me dedication. The fact that he stayed up late to make the edits, was the first to deliver. He finished the whole video. It was a 10-minute video. Other people did 2 minutes, and I was like, this guy is actually doing what it takes to prove to me that he deserves this job. And that was the reason why I have Joe here. Joe, I love you. I love all the work you do. I appreciate you. So, right? And you do this to make sure that both parties are happy with the relationship before you commit to something long term. And you know, big companies do this. They'll have probation periods to make sure that they don't invest a lot of money training someone who's gonna be shit. And it's the same way. I don't want to spend 6 months training somebody for me to be like, that was just so painful to work with them. Like, I could have done that myself. That's not very fun. So set up a test or set up a trial. You can make it paid or like a small fee, or you can do it for free. I would say if you're new to this, do it for free. You shouldn't have to pay anybody. It's only with the more complicated projects that you would pay a small fee for a trial. And this is the next tip that I think is so important. This is the last one, number 5, is remember that the person you are hiring at the end of the day is a fucking person. Show them respect. Talk to them with respect. I know so many people that will treat their employees like shit, and I hate that. Like, you are not hiring a robot or another number. This is another person on the other side of the screen that you're gonna work with. So have respect for that person, because you are both valuable and you should treat each other that way, right? Like, don't lowball somebody for a project just because you're being too cheap. Like, really sit there and think about how much you're paying them and how much work they need to put in to create that work for you. I really believe in being fair in any sort of business transaction. Otherwise, somebody will always be upset with their situation and say like, this isn't fucking worth it. I hate working with this person. She's paying me pennies, right? And you never want to be that. If you want to be a good boss, you need to treat the other person with respect. This next tip is like the one thing I stand by the most is whenever I hire somebody, I really think about how we can help each other. I always try to teach my staff, anybody that I hire under me, something, whether it's about systems, whether it's about process, whether it's about design or copywriting. Like, I'm always trying to level them up. I read this book called, I believe it's called The Dream Manager. And in this book, what they say is what makes an employee happy and what makes an employee want to come to work every single day is knowing that they are moving closer towards their dreams and their goals. So every time I hire somebody, I always ask them, like, what do you want to get out of this? Like, what do you want to learn from this? Like, what do you want to, because it's not just about money, right? Like, I used to get paid a fuck ton of money doing design work, and I quit because that meant nothing to me. Money is just money. But if I don't wake up with excitement, then it's just so not worth it for me. So every time I hire somebody, I ask them, what do you want to get out of this? And I go out of my way to make sure that I'm constantly pushing them to grow and become a better version of themselves. And I highly, highly, highly encourage you to do the same when you hire someone. Show them that you care. Show them that you're not thinking of them as an employee, but as a friend or someone that you actually want to talk to and hang out with, because you're not going to be someone fun to work with if you're only talking about work all the time. I really, really believe in that, and I really, really stand by that. Like, you need to show the other person that you are here to help them grow. Otherwise, they'll just leave you for someone else that'll pay them more, right? Like, give them a reason to pick you over someone else if it has to come down to being paid money or whatever it is. So what's the intrinsic value behind working with you and having this relationship with you? And I guarantee you, if you are able to really focus on that side of things, you will maintain a very, very long lasting, healthy relationship with this contractor or freelancer or whoever it is that you're hiring. When I was publishing, I was working with ghostwriters that I found on Upwork, and I have seen one of my writers grow so much in the last year, just from us supporting each other. You know, she went from I was her first client on Upwork to now she has so much traffic, she has to like build her own website, and then now she's thinking of doing copywriting, right? And it's all because we maintain that relationship, and I've helped her along the way, that she has been able to see this growth. And I'm not sad. I want her to be happy. I don't want her to ghostwrite for me forever. Like, she's gonna level up and she's gonna start her own business, right? Don't be upset about giving too much to your employees, because they will appreciate you even more when you do that. Don't have a fear in your head like, if I treat them so well, they're gonna leave me and they're gonna blah, blah, blah. You should be happy for them. You should be happy for them that they are growing in life and taking on bigger opportunities. Very, very quickly, so I touched upon how, like, 5 things to look for and how to actually hire someone, but now I want to talk about the qualities that actually stand out for how to hire someone. So the biggest thing to look for is eagerness and openness. I always believe the person who wants to be a sponge is gonna be better than that asshole that thinks he's always right, because that person is not trainable. That person will always be a dick about his opinions and won't listen to you. But the person who doesn't know everything but is so eager to learn and grow and so much wants to work with you, they're in a whole other headspace. They are so grateful that you've picked them, and all they ever want to do is make you happy, and they will always go out of their way to deliver you quality. So if you have to pick between the pro or the junior who is extremely motivated, pick the junior, because they will learn and grow so quickly because they want to make you happy. And then the other thing is how responsive this person is. I cannot stress enough how important communication is in hiring a freelancer, especially if you are not working in person, but you're working online. You'll likely be working on different time zones. For example, one of my contractors is in Paris and I am here in the Gold Coast. He is such a fucking savage. He will stay up all night to work in my hours. That is the type of person you want to hire. The person who will go out of their way to work on your schedule, or at least you guys have conversations about it. And I love him to death. His name is Christian and he does that. And you want to find people like that who are responsive, who respond to your messages, who don't like ghost you when you're asking, hey, where's my project? Like, you want to make sure that communication is there. Super important is how efficient they are. Just because they're cheap per hour doesn't mean anything. If this person costs $5 an hour, but it takes them 100 hours to finish a basic task, it's gonna cost you more than paying the pro that will do it in 1 hour. Does that make sense? Always think about efficiency here. Cheaper is not better. I actually never hire the cheapest person because they're often the one that is super shit and doesn't know how to deliver. Final thing is someone who has a lack of an ego. Like I said before, they need to be coachable. They need to love to learn. And if they're not that type of person, they're just not very fun to work with. They won't be creative. They won't think outside the box of different ways to solve your problem. They will only do what you tell them to do. They do not know how to think for themselves. They do not know how to do more than you ask them to. So you will always be extremely underwhelmed with what they deliver. Look for someone who is eager, willing to learn, will go above and beyond, and you will see results that you didn't even think were possible because you've like picked someone who is so eager to learn. That is it for today's video of how you can hire another team member to join you. It is very important that you do this because it's very difficult to run a business by yourself. Like, it's very lonely, it's not fun, and the moment that I started working with other people, I started feeling like I was like in a real business, in the sense that I'm not good at everything, and that's okay. And I can't do everything either. I'm only awake for a certain number of days. So if I want to grow my business as fast that I want to, I need to know how to outsource things and to give away things that I'm not good at. So my motto is do it for a little bit until you understand how to hire for that person and then outsource it. So in the beginning, I was always editing my own videos because, you know, it's okay, it's not that bad. But then I realized I can't focus on creating good content because I would spend 6 hours editing. So then I found Joe. And then now Joe saves my ass because I don't have to worry about it. And he's so much better than me. That is it for today. I hope you guys can take all the tangible tips from this video and find someone incredible. I'm going to create one more video that will be coming out tomorrow about how you should put up a post and how to actually go about looking and searching inside Upwork or Fiverr and like the best way to do it. So I've hired at least 8 to 10 people on Fiverr, Upwork, incredible results every single time. So there's a certain method of how you do it. And even my boyfriend was like, how do you always find such good people? And I'm like, it's because I take the time. So tomorrow's video is all about the exact process of how you go and find a really good freelancer for a project on Upwork or Fiverr. So that is it for today's video. Guys, if this really helped or if you really liked my fluffy shirt, please don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you guys tomorrow.
I love you like la 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 la.